In this video, we're going to cover the single target and AoE strategies for Subtlety rogues. Before we dive into single target and AoE strategies, let's talk about how to use Shadow Dance. Let's take a look at how Shadow Dance works. As you can see from the tooltip, it puts you in a state that lasts 6 seconds that allows you to use abilities that are otherwise restricted to stealth mode. What I usually use while I'm in the Shadow Dance state is Ambush, and the reason why comes back to our talent discussion and improved Ambush. If you use Ambush with this talent, it's almost guaranteed to crit, and it does a lot more damage and also gives you 2 combo points. The thing that you want to keep in mind though is that you need to be right behind the target when you activate Shadow Dance, because as you know, let me enter stealth mode very quickly, Ambush requires you to be right behind the target in order to use it. So for that reason, whenever I use Shadow Dance, I usually use it in combination with Shadow Step. What Shadow Step does is it teleports you right behind the target so that you can use Ambush. It also causes your next ambush to deal 30% additional damage and also increase your movement speed. Let's demonstrate how to use Shadow Dance on the target dummy. Now what I'm going to do is a 3-step process. First, I'm going to use Shadow Step to teleport myself behind the target dummy. Next, I'm going to use Shadow Dance and wait just a split second for it to place me in the Shadow Dance state. And third, I'm going to use Ambush. Okay, I have the target dummy targeted. Shadow Step, Shadow Dance, wait a second, Ambush, another Ambush, and as you can see, that's a great way to open a pull because you have 5 combo points right off the bat most of the time. The best way to describe how to conduct the Subtlety single target strategy is by walking through an example, which you can see right now. We're going to start off by talking about the opener. On step 1, we cast Tricks of Trade on the tank. On steps 2, 3, and 4, we cast Premeditation, followed by Shadow Step, followed by Ambush. Premeditation puts 2 combo points up on the target. Shadow Step teleports us right behind the target, and then Ambush attacks the target and adds 2 more combo points. By the time you complete step 4, you'll either have 4 or 5 combo points. The reason why you might have 5 combo points comes back to our Honor Among Thieves talent. As you can see from the description, it gives you a 100% chance to gain a combo point on your target when any member in your party lands a critical strike. So in my experience, I would say 75% of the time, by the time you reach the 4th step and cast Ambush, you have 5 combo points, which is a great way to start the opener off. On step 5, you should have 5 combo points. That's where you use Rupture. You should also still have the Master of Subtlety buff. If we look at our talent discussion again in the summaries, Master of Subtlety says that attacks made while stealthed for 6 seconds after breaking stealth cause an additional 10% damage. So whenever your stealth is broken, you have this Master of Subtlety buff. And that's where in step 5 of the strategy, we cast Rupture, which takes advantage of this buff. On step 6, we cast Hemorrhage. We want to get our Hemorrhage dot up as soon as possible. On steps 7 through 9, we spam Backstab until we have 4 combo points. As soon as we have 4 combo points, then we're going to pool our energy until we have about 80% energy, then cast Backstab again. That brings us up to 5 combo points. Then on step 12, we take advantage of the 5 combo points and finish with Slice and Dice. So this is the end of the opener for the single target strategy. In a nutshell, by the time you reach step 12 and cast Slice and Dice, you'll have a 5-point Rupture up and a 5-point Slice and Dice. Now that we're done with the opener, let's move on to the rest of the single target strategy. Starting with the first bullet. Build combo points primarily with Backstab and use Hemorrhage whenever you can't get behind the target to use Backstab. There are a lot of situations in dungeons where there might be a fire or the edge of a cliff or something like that where you can't position yourself behind the mob. That's a great opportunity to use hemorrhage instead of backstab. The majority of the rotation at this point revolves around 3 conditions: keeping slice and dice up, keeping rupture up, and keeping recuperate up in that order of priority. If you have a slice and dice up, a rupture up, and recuperate up, that's a good time to use eviscerate. In my experience, by the time you get all 3 of those conditions met, you may have enough time to build up combo points and then get 1 eviscerate in. Usually by that point, you'll have to go back to like getting your slice and dice up or your rupture up or something like that. Make sure that you finish with a 5 combo point eviscerate, and the reason why comes back to our talent discussion. Serrated Blades is the talent that I'm referring to now. The way Serrated Blade works is that it gives your eviscerate a 20% chance per combo point to refresh the duration of a rupture dot. So it makes sense that if you have 5 combo points, you'll have a 100% chance to refresh your rupture. That's why, as a rule of thumb, if you ever finish with eviscerate, make sure that you have 5 combo points. Let's demonstrate the single target strategy on a target dummy in Org. Now, we're not in a party, so we're not going to be buffing our tank with tricks of the trade. The first 3 steps are going to have us cast Premeditation, followed by Shadow Step, followed by Ambush. So let's go ahead and start. Premeditation, Shadow Step, Ambush. We have 5 combo points: Rupture, Hemorrhage, Backstab, Backstab, another Backstab. Let's get Slice and Dice up. Go back to spamming Backstab. Our objective is going to be to refresh our Rupture. Okay, just fell off. Refresh Rupture. Keep spamming Backstab like this. Hemorrhage. Recuperate. Actually, Recuperate. Let's get Recuperate back up. Now notice that Rupture and Slice and Dice are about to fall off. Let's get a 5-point Slice and Dice, 1-point Rupture. Go back to spamming Backstab. Now we have all 3 of our conditions met. Rupture is about to fall off. Get Rupture back up. Okay, so we have a fresh Rupture. It looks like Recuperate's about to fall off. Recuperate's back up. Let's build 5 combo points. Let's get another Hemorrhage dot up. 5 combo point Slice and Dice. And as you can see, we just lost our Rupture. Let's get a 2 combo point Rupture up. And that is the gist of the single target strategy for Subtlety robes in a nutshell. To wrap up what we just did in the rotation there, you could see from the example that most of the time we were focusing on building our combo points up, keeping all of our dots up, like Hemorrhage, Rupture, but we were primarily focusing on keeping Slice and Dice up, keeping the Rupture dot up, and keeping Recuperate up. In that example, we didn't have any time to use even 1 eviscerate. And most of the time during your trash pulls and boss fights, most of the rotation consists of just that. Let's move on to the AoE rotation for Subtlety rogues. This should be a very short discussion, and the reason why is Subtlety rogues virtually have no AoE rotation. The closest thing to AoE that you can do as a Subtlety rogue is spam Fan of Knives. Based on the research I did, Fan of Knives is so weak it'll actually drop your DPS if you're spamming it non-stop. The general recommendation that I found in my research is to just don't bother with AoE at all and just single target everything that you attack. Now that we've covered the single target and AoE strategies for Subtlety rogues, let's move on to a real-life example in the context of a 5-man dungeon.